Pyrrhic Defeat theory comes from Jeffrey Reiman and Paul Leighton's book, The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison. And it is a hypothesis in criminology that suggests that the people who have the power to change the criminal justice system don't, because it benefits them so much. So Pyrrhic defeat is it's the opposite of a Pyrrhic victory. And a Pyrrhic victory would be a win, like a military win, at such a high cost in troops and resources that it amounts to a loss. So Pyrrhic defeat theory suggests that the criminal justice system fails so badly at what its mission is, to reduce crime, that it actually amounts to a win for the people who have a vested interest in keeping the status quo. It was a very fortuitous way that I learned about it. Wilkes University offered a college course inside SCI Dallas, and the textbook was The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison. So that's how I learned about it. It was inside Dallas. I was 5 years into my 10-year bit. Right around that time, the Portrait Project was starting to become a project. It was this convergence of learning and drawing that ended up turning into the Pyrrhic Defeat Portrait Project. Also, this Portrait Project wasn't something that I launched thinking that I was going to do a project. It just turned into a project. Well, it started as making commissary money. I would draw the portraits and sell them for coffee, and I just wanted to get better at the actual technical aspect of drawing. And I had about a dozen or so of those practice drawings, and I taped them to my cell wall and felt an energy coming from them, and an opportunity to talk about some issues that I was learning about. So there are 771 portraits in this particular phase of the project, the ones that I drew while I was incarcerated. I'm matching those portraits, that number, with portraits of supporters of criminal justice reform. I'm shooting for 800 just to have a couple extra, and I'm at 230, so I'm still chipping away at it. And anyone who might be interested in being part of that project, I appreciate it, and I very much welcome that inquiry email if you're so inclined.
Me and Mark, it was kind of a weird way that we got to know each other, because he used to always be the weird guy walking around with headphones on and paint all over his clothes. He was the guy on the block that is always sitting at a table drawing people. And the one day he just came up to me and he asked me about a jailhouse tattoo that I have on my back. He's like, "Hey man, where'd you get that?" So we just became friends, and then we started talking more about things we had in common, things that were going on in our lives with our families and stuff like that. And then he was just like, "Hey, would you mind sitting for this project I'm working on?" And it really was just, I thought I was doing my friend a favor. I never would have thought it would have turned into this. One thing that always blew me away with his portraits is the eyes, the detail that he does on people's eyes. He spends so much time, he'll sit you on the table and he'll be like, "All right, sit on the table and look up at the fire hydrant, or look at the fire alarm." It was just so shocking to see. When he drew my picture and I looked at my eyes, it's wow, this really looks just like my eyes. Every picture is different. Guys have neck tattoos, guys have face tattoos. I had a black eye and, you know what I mean, and a cut to go with it. So everybody might just see inmates, but I see sons, but I'm somebody's son, somebody's father, I'm somebody's brother, I'm somebody's boyfriend, I'm a lot of things. I have very similar beliefs to Mark in, I hope that it raises awareness and it can somehow change the justice system to be more, it's just not a fair system, and he's like a brother to me.
I actually first met Mark in a college class in the penitentiary. We were both studying criminal justice. Before COVID, I moved to the same unit he was living on. We lived on an honor block together. But I was open to it. Everything jived for me. He had such a big vision for it that I was impressed with it. It was at the time it was COVID, so we had very limited movement, but very limited interaction. His personality just brought people in. They just, yeah, I'll sit there and do this with a mask on. I thought it was fantastic. And as I said, the first one was with a mask on, and I could still tell. It was wow, look, he brought this out this way. After COVID was over, we could do them without masks. I was just super impressed. It was just so much bigger than I could have imagined. It shows that the humanity of these men. That, you know, they're there. They made a bad choice, bad decision, but it didn't make them a bad person. It just, you know, they're learning to be better from this experience. Sometimes just a small mistake or a big mistake can make you realize, you know, that you need to change, and change is possible. This shows that change is possible. The humanity, the person, these are just people. They're not evil villains that you see in the TV or in comics and different things. They're not the villains. These are just regular young men who, as I said, who made a mistake, who made a bad choice in life. And just to see the big picture of what mass incarceration looks like.
We were away together, unfortunately. I met Mark in the penitentiary, and I just noticed he stayed to himself a lot, doing artwork. And I was like a couple cells away from him. So I took a liking to his artwork. From there, we became pretty tight. I mean, we did like 10 years together almost. I do spoken word poetry, so for him to actually, you know, put his ideas through what he see on paper through pencil and colors, like I've always thought that was amazing. Like I had visited him one day in his studio, and it just went from there. And I told him, I said, you tell me he had little projects and things of that nature coming up. So I said, yo, if you ever need me, you know, I'm interested, like, just plug me in. That's how all this came about. By him being who he is to me, like we became real good friends. And like, I just support everything he does, you know? So I didn't even mind. He said, you gotta sit for 20 minutes. Most people can't sit for 20 minutes. I said, I got you. I'll sit for 20 minutes, you know? Plus I didn't want to be the only one that didn't have one. I was blown away. Like when he first handed it to me, like it was amazing that he did that with a pencil, like, and I just sat still for it. But like once he put it in my hand, like, and it captured how he captured me, that captured me, and I was like staring at it. I probably stared at it for 20 minutes, you know? My impression was like, wow. And my interpretation is, man, don't stop, keep going. It's amazing, like just to be a part of it and just knowing like where it all stemmed from, and just understand and know that, you know, all the faces they see, you know, there's a story behind each face. It's not just all bad, you know what I'm saying?
I hope that the visitors walk away with a sense of scale. It's numbers that I'm trying to portray here. And behind those numbers are human people. And there's a lot of human people behind those numbers. And it's my obligation to bring awareness to that.